YouTube. I know you've all been waiting a long time for this, but it's finally that time. My investigation is concluded, and I'm about to give you my results. So, conclusion of Mormonism. First, let's recap what Mormonism is. To help this out, I've made a little visual aid, just so you can kind of get the flow of the whole religion here. Okay, so this is what Mormons believe. This is their belief in an artistic nutshell. Okay, so we start out with the Lord, or as the Mormons call him, Elohim. Okay, and apparently him and his wife, Mistress Unknown, not written about in the Bible, but apparently she's there. Anyway, these two get to boning, and they make a bunch of spirit children, okay, that are pretty much you, me, and everyone else on the planet, with a few exceptions. Because you've got Jesus, who was the firstborn, and Lucifer, who was the secondborn. Okay? And apparently all of us spirit children want to be just like Daddy here. So he creates the earth for us as a test bed to determine who is more worthy. Still following me? Okay. Now, there were different ways about going about this. Jesus had one way, Lucifer had another way, and Elohim apparently picked Jesus rather than Satan, and that's why they had a bit of a falling out. Moving on. Now, the story seems to go in line with regular Christianity, the world fall of man due to Adam and Eve. You know, they ate the apple. I know. Anyway, so Jesus dies for our sins. 3 days later, he comes back as a fucking zombie. Now, later in the picture, what happens is that the Church of Jesus or the Bible, all that stuff, gets corrupted by men. Okay? So, church bad. All of them. They're all abominations, according to the Book of Mormon. So there's this guy who comes along with a new book that is set to redo everything and get the kinks ironed out so that everybody knows exactly how Jesus wants it. Okay? Now, in this book, it will give you lots of instructions on how to live your life. Mainly, you're supposed to hook up with someone of the opposite sex, produce lots and lots of children, and devote lots of your time and money to the church. Once all that is accomplished in your normal, regular life, when you die, you go to a special difference called the spirit world. I didn't make it up. Anyway, and you sit there in pretty much limbo until Day of Judgment. Now, when Judgment Day happens, some iffy things happen. This is where pretty much God, Jesus, and Joseph Smith himself will decide on where you're going to be divided up into and which heaven you're going to, which is different from normal Christianity because Mormons believe in more than one type of heaven. Okay, there's top tier. That's where the really good saintly Mormons go. There's middle of the road, which is where, like, I don't know, the rest of the Christians go. There's bottom tier heaven, which I guess I would go to. I don't know. And then you have the darkness, because they don't call it hell. They call it the outer darkness, something like that. And that's where the really bad people go. Anyway, if you're really good and godly Mormon, and you follow all the rules, and you pay lots of money to the church, and you devote lots of time to it, when you get to heaven, what happens is that Elohim here will give you divine powers of your own. And in effect, will make you a god in the process. Now, this is kind of awesome, because you and your spouse there are now gods, and you get to make lots of spirit children by boning, and then you can make your own little world for them to go to, and their own little set of laws that they have to obey, and pretty much the whole thing is a rinse and repeat process. So, according to Mormons, there are lots of gods already out there. This just happens to be their god. And when you die, if you do everything according to Book of Mormon, you can be a god and rule over your own little beings. So that's just a little quick overview of what the Mormons believe. Take it or leave it. And this was all brought to you by this guy. This is Joseph Smith, and man, he's handsome, isn't he? Look at that blonde hair, blue eyes, chiseled physique. He should be an underwear model. And wait a minute. This isn't Joseph Smith. Why did the Mormons send me this picture of Joseph Smith? It's clearly not Joseph Smith. How do I know that? I found a real picture of him. Alright. This is what the Mormons had to have you believe that Joseph Smith looks like. And this is what he actually looks like. Not exactly the underwear model anymore, huh? Well, maybe his image just needed a bit of an upgrade. It's a face only a mother could love. Anyway, Mormonism, brought to you by Joseph Smith Jr. This is going to be divided up into many serious parts so as to not keep them too long. But have fun with part number 2. I'll see you there.
Young fool. Only now, at the end, do you understand?